Today I'm going to show you a way of preserving video game environments by taking 360-degree panoramic screenshots in any game, and this game is Ring of Elysium, which by the time you're watching this is apparently going to be shut down. So to start off, you should go into your video game and find a place that you want to take a 360 panoramic. It should be on top of something, preferably. See if I can get on top of this even more. There we go. Yeah, now I'm on top of that thing. Cool. So you're going to want to determine your field of view, your horizontal field of view. Now, luckily, Ring has an option for this, and it even says it's horizontal, and you're going to want to set it as low as it can go. A lot of games measure their FOV in vertical FOV, and it's kind of vague whether it's vertical or horizontal. Pretty much, you're going to have to try and figure that out and try and find the horizontal FOV amount. You're also going to want to disable your HUD and obviously be in first person, if that's possible for your game. If it isn't, then you could either crop in, which is going to change your FOV and you'd have to kind of manually recalculate it, or you could use Photoshop to use the content aware fill to get rid of the HUD. So now, taking screenshots. For me, I'm just going to use this video. If your video recording setup isn't pretty much lossless like mine is, like this video I'm recording is basically next to lossless, and the resolution is the same as my game, so it doesn't matter. But if your game supports an option to do super resolution screenshots, you're going to want to use that. I think games like Minecraft or Gary's Mod let you do larger resolution screenshots than what you're actually running the game at. And I'm sure there's a bunch of other games too. I think Kerbal Space Program has that. But for me, I'm going to use the video. When you're looking straight up and straight down, you're going to basically be missing stuff. A lot of games don't even let you look straight up or straight down, but it's okay to be missing stuff at the very bottom because you can go in and fix the holes later in Photoshop. Same with the sky. Like in this situation where there's not a lot of mountainous area, you're going to be dealing with a lot of clouds, and the image stitching software, it can't deal with clouds at all whatsoever. So you're going to be generating those in Photoshop as well. So to start off, I just go from the bottom up and I look straight down or as down as I can, and I just go do a circle. And I like to make little stops just for my own sake when I'm extracting the images from this. So I'm going to move my camera up a little bit, and I'm going to try to include a lot of the stuff that I just took a screenshot of, but not too much. Remember, less is more when you're doing this. The image stitching software, you can give it a bunch of images, but it's going to take forever and it might give you problems. So if you can get away with using less images, you're going to get a better result, usually. And ideally, you want to have one shot where the horizon is perfectly centered. So over there, the horizon, that's about in the middle of my screen, so I'm going to go ahead and try and stay on that center line when I take this next rotation. I'm going to try to position this lens flare in a spot that I like, maybe just straight on. And I'm going to specifically select this image for the lens flare. Now I'm going to move up again. And sadly, the game world just changed, but in this situation, it doesn't matter. I could just hop out of the game and try this again, but because this is just a demonstration, and because that picture I just took, those ones I just took, it contained enough, it contained everything. I wasn't losing anything, so I'm going to stick with that. So this is the video I just recorded, and as you can see, this last rotation, because I was doing it at the exact horizon line, and because this area that I'm in doesn't really have any much above the horizon line, it's totally fine. And I'm going to reconstruct all the clouds in Photoshop. It's not going to look great. You're going to see a seam, but it's whatever. So I'm just going to go through and I'm going to manually find each screenshot that I want from the video to create this 360 pano. And I'm going to use Premiere's frame export tool, which is Control-Shift-E by default. But you don't need Premiere for this. You could use VLC, which also lets you do a lossless screenshot from a video. Anything that lets you take a lossless screenshot from a video will work. But for this, I'm just going to go and I'm going to get, just eyeballing it. And it makes it kind of easy because I did that pause, so I can kind of point out where the pause was. Okay, and that's that. I have 27 images, and I could probably get rid of a couple because some of them might be duplicates. So I'm just going to take kind of a gander. Remember, using less, you're going to get better results. So it's like, do I need this one when I have this one? Like, am I really losing out on the slight amount of sky? Clouds are not something the software can really deal with. It's kind of a problem. If you're lucky, the software, which is called hugin, maybe hugin. If you're lucky, the software will just straight up work the first time, no problems. Especially when you have less images, it usually does it. But sometimes if you take more images or have images that are just sky, you can get a lot of problems. There's also the issue with the fact that this is a video game, so there's like repeating textures and models that are identical. That's something that wouldn't happen in real life. So sometimes the panoramic editor can get confused with that. Now, this is not going to be a full hugin tutorial. This software is super advanced. You can do so much with it. I'm just going to give you a basic rundown on how to use the standard, tools so you can get this stuff working. And I'm going to try and show you, like worst case scenario situations on how you would have to edit certain things to fix it. So first of all, up here where it says interface, you're going to want to go to simple, and you're going to get a window like this. This is what you want to work with. So I'll just go to load images. I'm going to go and just select all of these. So now it's going to ask you about your lens. I just keep it on normal. I don't think any of these other ones would be any better, but I have no idea. For FOV, I know my FOV is 85 degrees. So with that, I'm good, cool, boom, easy. So initially, everything's going to be a jumbled mess. So the software needs to align the images. So just hit align. The more images that you have, the longer it's going to take. And it's like a logarithmic increase. It's going to take way long if you have a lot of images. Okay, so it just finished with pretty much perfect results. I don't have to do that much at all. It figured out, what it needed to figure out. It's upside down, which for some reason in this software, I have never gotten it to put it right side up. It's always upside down for some reason. I have no idea why. It could be something to do with the color of like the thing I'm standing on. That could be it, but I don't know. So this demonstrates the whole less is more thing, but I'm going to go through the UI a little bit just to explain a few things here and there. So first of all, I need to flip the thing upside down. So I'm going to go over here into roll. I'm going to set this to 180, and that's going to fix things. Over in crop, because I want this to be an actual 360 pano and not a cropped pano, which you can also do, I'm going to set this to 0, 0, and then I'm just going to put in a big number for both of those, and that's going to make it so it's not cropped at all. In projection, this needs to be 360 by 180. If for whatever reason it's not, it should be that by default, but who knows. Now over here in the preview window, this is a very important window because it's going to give you a lot of little options. So the two big ones, the identify button and the edit CP button. So edit CP will allow you to bulk remove control points, which are these little X's. Now, typically when you have images that have a lot of sky in them, this software might try and use the sky as reference. And that's not something you want. You pretty much don't ever want your control points to be in the clouds. This menu will allow you to just straight up select these, grab those, and remove the control points. And it's going to ask if you want to re-optimize. I'm just going to hit no for now because I want to remove these. I also want to remove these. And then I'll hit re-optimize. That's going to take a second, apply the changes. And you can see it kind of changed the image up a little bit. That's how you remove bulk control points. Sometimes that isn't doable because occasionally this software will just put random stuff in places where it shouldn't be. So the next important tool is the identify button. And this allows you to identify what image is what, and it will highlight it up here. And it's super important for identifying problem images. You can go over here too, set it to inside, and use middle mouse to pan. And you can see down here, when I look at the very bottom, there are some messed up areas. A big messed up area is right here. You can see if I turn off identify and just, you can see right there, that section, that's not right. It shouldn't be like that. So if I go to identify, so that's probably image number 1 kind of causing that issue. And there's also the foot in these pictures. So I want to get rid of the foot, and I'm going to try and fix this up a little bit. And you'll see over here too, there's a lot of like really messed up areas. Sometimes there's just nothing you can do about it. This software blends between all of these, so you're not going to have hard edges like this usually. Another thing to note is this section back over in move drag is straighten. You're going to want to click that occasionally, and that's going to straighten out the horizon. And ideally, this center line should be exactly on the horizon line in your image. And in this case, it is. You can see that. Now, you can also adjust in here by dragging the image, and doing this is going to screw stuff up if you move up and down, but that's okay. You can just move this to where you want it to be. And looking over here, you can see where the seam is going to be. So this right here, this line, that's where the seam is. So you really probably don't want your seam to be somewhere where there is an interesting thing. So I'm going to put it right there because there's very little, things in the scene right there. And I'm going to hit straighten again, and that's going to fix up my, whenever you do this, straighten will fix that up. Up in interface, I'm going to go to advanced, and this is going to open a new window. You're going to have this still, and we're going to come back to this, but this is going to open up your advanced stuff. So first of all, this will give you a whole list of all your photos. The first thing I'd worry about is the masks. So right here, I have this foot. I don't want this foot in the images. So I'm going to hit add new mask, and I'm just going to click around the foot and then double click to finish. By default, it's going to be include region, but I want to exclude the region. And I'm just going to go through and I'm going to find every single image I have that has the foot in it. Cool, so now all of these are masked out, and you should be able to see those results immediately. If I just look down, you'll see now there should be no shoe. Next panel called control points. So this gives you 2 sets of image selections. It compares between the two. So I have image 0 over here, and any image that has a little bar, that means that there's matches between the 2 images. So between these 2, it detected, hey, these are matching points automatically. A lot of times, you're going to need to use this to add your own control points to fix things up and make things better. In this example, I can see this little corner of the house right there, and I can also see it right there, but there's no control point there, so I'm going to add a new control point. And I'll do that just by clicking kind of over here, and I'm going to also click kind of over there. And by default, if you clicked in a region with some contrast, it should actually automatically kind of find and detect the exact point you selected. You can go and fine tune it, so like right there, but then you have to fine tune it over here as well. But once you have that, you can just hit add down here at the bottom, and there's a new control point. Up here, if I just add a random control point up there, that's like not accurate at all whatsoever. To delete it, I just click the number, and it's going to give me like this option to reposition it. I can just hit delete. That'll fix it. And also, if you just click the image and you didn't want to do that, just right click to cancel. So my big issue is with these images. So number 1, it doesn't seem like it has a lot of matches with the early ones. Now, I don't know what it decided to detect. Okay, so here, in this situation, it didn't create any control points between these 2 images, even though clearly there should be control points. So this is where, the software has some issues, and it can get confused. Like, this is a very similar object. It probably didn't know. It's not perfect, but I can go and fix this up a little bit. Like I said previously, I'll just go and add a control point, and if you click and drag initially, you can kind of fine tune where you want it. So I'm going to put it right on that corner, right there. And that same corner is right there. And you can see it did not grab the correct corner on this side. So I'm going to have to go over and manually position it right there. I'm going to keep doing this as much as you really can. I'm going to put one here, right there on that corner. It's really good to use corners, and especially it's good to do places of, extreme contrast. And I'd say at this point, I've added, 7 control points. This is probably enough for this image. And now I get to go and find the next image that it didn't get a control point for. Now in this situation, there's a lot less control points that I can deal with, but there's still some. So I can, see this little picnic table in both, and I can still see, bits of this. And I'd say that's enough for that. So this is the time-consuming thing. You're pretty much just going to want to start going through these and adding more points, and you're going to want to adjust things. Once you've gone through and you found the control points and added extra control points, you can go up to Edit and Optimize again. And it's going to take those new control points that you made, and it's going to use those and try to fix things up a little bit. I'll hit yes, and you can see it's, I'll hit straighten. You can see it didn't really do much, really. Like, there's still this issue area right here. On number 1 and number 9 look like they're kind of conflicting a little bit. So I'll go back over here and I'll grab number 1 and number 9. And you can see there's no control points at all between these two. So I'm going to go and I'm going to attempt to add some, because there are maybe like 1 or 2. All right, so I've just gone through, I've done basically what I can do. There's not much more I can do. There's still going to be stuff that's messed up. This bottom bit is going to be, messed up pretty much no matter what. That's just how it is. There are going to be weird bits here and there. I don't know if you noticed in the time lapse, I went through and I added a ton of like new masks, like just kind of picking good parts of certain images and like getting rid of other parts. And I did notice if you have masks that overlap other masks, so like this situation, I had this overlapping with this. I had to move this mask over so it wasn't conflicting with this because it made a black hole in the image. But once you've gone through and you've kind of touched everything up as best as you can, it's not going to be perfect. It's a flawed system. You go back up to this assistant and you hit Create Panorama. It's going to give you a bunch of options here. First of all, your size and width. I like using 8,000. And if you click over here, it will automatically calculate. Now, I think this should be 8,000 by 4,000. Let me just go to projection. Okay, look at this. See this? It set itself to 179. This should be 180. That's why. I'm gonna hit straighten again. When I hit straighten, it wants to go to 179 for whatever weird reason. Don't know what's up with that. Anyway, if I go back up here now, do 8,000. There, now it's 4,000. So that's how 360 images are formatted. The width is double the height. I'm just gonna hit OK. Hit OK again, save it. And it's going to open a window. Now, sadly, we've ran into hell. It's failed. It just decided to fail. So why did it fail? I have no idea. I don't know what any of this means. It doesn't make any damn sense. It goes through blending. It's saying encounter degenerate image/mask geometry too high, risk of defective seamline. I'm guessing that means one of my masks is busted. Who knows? Who knows why or how? I could just get rid of all my masks and be like, okay, whatever, just delete that. I don't know which ones are good and which ones aren't good, You gotta keep trying, pretty much. Eventually, maybe, hopefully, it'll work. Maybe. Oh, look, it actually did it that time. Boom. There is the stitched panoramic. Very cool. But I'm not finished just yet. I'm going to bring this into Photoshop now, and I'm going to use the magic wand tool to select the sky. Then I'll go up to Edit and Content Aware Fill. And what this is going to do is it's going to reconstruct the sky. And I'm going to just kind of get rid of a little bit of this. It's going to do a really bad job. Like, it's going to look bad. It's whatever. That's fine. Sure. Hey, it's better than nothing. There will likely be a seam. I'm going to select just this whole bottom bit. This will be the very bottom of the image. And I'm going to content aware fill this too. Using that, and look, it kind of just smoothed it out. So that thing I'm standing on, gone. The way you can fix the seam, I can go up to Filter, Other Offset, and I can go and set this to 4,000. And now you'll be able to see the seam in the middle. And if you zoom in, you can also see a few little messed up bits up in the sky that I can fix up too using the spot healing brush. So I'll just give those a few little fixes, and I'll look around, you know, I'll go and zoom in, and you can see, like, look, that's messed up. I don't have patience to go and fix that up, or this little bit right there, you know? There's gonna be totally messed up spots here and there, like right there, like that's obviously messed up. And then this, it's just missing the whole damn freaking, I don't know what happened. As you might be able to hear from the tone of my voice, I'm very upset with this, and I've pretty much lost patience. And this is, you know, this is par for the course with dealing with hugin. It works great when it works great, and sometimes it just doesn't want to work at all. This is one of those situations where it kind of worked. So how do you look at a 360 panoramic image? The file itself has metadata that tells software exactly what kind of image it is. So hugin lets you, in the crop mode, you could crop this down and it would know intelligently that, hey, this isn't a 360 panoramic anymore. It's only like this region or like this. It would know to display just this bit. And that's because of metadata in the file. So if you're gonna size this down, I would use Photoshop to save it, and it'll keep the metadata. Also, I just realized I forgot to reset the offset there, so I'll just hit that and save again. The software I use to view panoramics is called Lux. This is another open source piece of software. And this, I'll just go and select my panoramic, and hopefully, okay, so this is Lux. This lets you view the panoramics, and you can see it's a 360 pano. You can zoom in and out, and yeah, it looks a little weird. Kind of looks cool at the top. The bottom also looks a little strange, but in general, I now have this image from the game. I can fully look around. Yeah, it isn't perfect. Yeah, there's flaws all over the place. Like, I can zoom in, I can see that tree totally messed up. I'm sure if I go through and look, there's gonna be tons of little messed up areas. And that's, again, like this. There's no reason it should have messed this up. I had multiple images where that was in the center of the frame. Why would it even mess that up? There's probably better ways to do this, but hugin, it's good enough for my needs for this, just, you know, kind of saving areas from this game. This is my town that I would always spawn in. The spawn point I'd spawn at was right there, and I'd run into the back door of this building and pick up the 2 or 3 guns that were always in this building, and I'd be good to go. That's how he rolled. And my boys, we'd spawn over here. This used to be the Minos Islands till they added this bullshit. That's what this is for. This is for if you can't preserve a game in other ways, like through model ripping or private servers or whatever, you can always take screenshots, and there's nothing better than a 360 panoramic screenshot. Plus, you can do crazy stuff like make the spherical looking ass, you know, you can go crazy with this. And so that's it. I hope you learned something from this, and I hope maybe you'll be able to make some panoramics, maybe. Definitely go watch some tutorials on how to use hugin that are specifically for that software, because I'm sure there's a bunch of stuff that I don't even know about to make it not shitty. But yeah, that's it.